So the voice of the packing monster has already started. You know that little niggle that you get once you've packed your bag that you've forgotten something? I packed my bag 2 or 3 days ago now. I usually do it on the same day that I'm coming out. And I didn't check it this morning. So yeah, just got that voice in my head that I've forgotten something. Definitely bought loads of gear. My bag hasn't been this big or heavy for a long, long time. Anyway, the question for today is it worth buying your wild camping gear second-hand? I've got myself a few bits off eBay and I bought them out tonight to find out. My base weight for this one was just under 9.8 kilos, which isn't a huge amount, but I'm probably carrying 12 with all the water and drinks and food and stuff that I've added in. A lot of the camping gear that's on eBay at the minute seems to be going for really high prices, but I managed to find myself a tent, a sleeping bag and a sleep mat to try out. Just looking for somewhere to pitch and get unpacked. I've come to a permission spot that I've got, which is, I usually go up there, but all the sheep are out again, so I'm just having a look around. I might have to just pitch here somewhere, or there is a little bit of a flat bit at the bottom of that ditch down there. So I think this will do us. It is a bit of a slope, but if I put my head towards this end, make sure my head's raised, should be all right. It has forecast some rain for later as well, so I want to be set up before that comes. Right, let me finish getting unpacked and set up, and then I'll show you everything that I've brought along with me. You probably saw the tent on a previous kind of first look video that I did. It's a Mountain Warehouse Backpacker 2. It's just 2 poles that slot into these sleeves, and it's all color coordinated. So you just match them up. It does use, I think, 642 pegs, so it's not the simplest tent I've ever had. I need to try and get it tight though to give me as much space as possible inside, because it's going to be a bit of a squeeze in there, I think. So I've got the tent up. It looks a lot better than it did when I did my first look video. One of the main reasons is I found this bit here, which ties the inner to the outer and pulls it up. I didn't notice that before, so I've tied that and it should give me a bit more space inside. I haven't bothered with the guy lines because it's just not windy today. It took me about 10 minutes to put it up. So like I said, it's not the easiest tent to put up. There are easier ones, but it's not difficult either. It's got a really low profile, so if it wasn't for the fluorescent orange guy lines and zips, it would be quite stealth. It's a similar design to the OEX Fox 2. I think that's a bit more of a stealth colour. I don't know if it's any easier to pitch, any less pegs or anything like that. So the tent cost me 50 quid off eBay. And when it arrived, it looked like it hadn't been used. So I think that was a good buy. There's 75 quid new from Mountain Warehouse. I've got it says Flyton on it, but pretty much unbranded sleep mat as well. Very similar to one of the other ones I've got. And that was 17 quid. And that was brand new, that wasn't secondhand. And then I found a, what is it? Eurohike Adventurer 200 sleeping bag. This was £16.50. I did have a bit of a nightmare with sleeping bags though. The first one I bought was a Decathlon one, a Quechua bag. And when it came, it was a Quechua storage bag with a random sort of vintage dodgy sleeping bag inside it. So I had to send that back. I did get a refund on it, and then I found this one and bought this one. It's just starting to rain, so I'm going to get everything in the tent, get unpacked, and then I'll let you have a proper look. So that's the sleep mat. It's one of those that's kind of hexagon, square type, pockety type thingies. I know what I'm on about. With a pillow bit at the end. They inflate really quickly because they are just loads of these little pockets. The other one I've got's really quite comfortable, so should be all right with that one. Another thing I bought with me, I've had this for ages. It's a bit of the Light AF mat from Outdoor Gear Essentials. I bought one ages ago and they're really long, so I cut this, I think in half, or I might have just cut a bit off for the dog. It's really thin and really light, but will give an extra bit of insulation from the cold. It is starting to get colder at night now, and it'll also stop your sleep mat moving around inside your tent. So I'm going to put that down first. I bought a couple of pillows as well because I am still trying them out, and the sleep mat has got a built-in pillow bit to it, but I bought the High Kenture one again because I really liked that last time. And I bought my, is it Thermarest or Trekology? Thermarest compressible pillow. If you haven't seen these before, they kind of fold in half and then compress into themselves. So let me just unravel it and show you. You pull the drawstring, turn it like that, and then you can just leave that to fluff up. So because the sleep mat's got a built-in pillow, I might just try using this on top of the sleep mat and leave the high Kensha one for my X-Ped. See what I can tell you about this sleeping bag. So yeah, it's a Eurohike Adventurer 200 2-season mummy bag. Comfort rating plus 30 degrees to 0 degrees and an extreme minus 10, but don't believe what they say. It weighs 1.2 kilos as well. Bargain. I was initially looking at getting a full setup from eBay, but a lot of the stuff was going for really high prices. I didn't manage to find a rucksack. One of the main reasons is I think the Eurohike Nepal 65 at 25 quid is a real bargain, and that's probably the one I'd go for if I was looking at stuff at the sort of budget end like this. I'll try and give you a little tour, but it's so small in there we might struggle. So sleep system, I've got my light AF mat under there, the sleep mat, and then that Eurohike bag. The sleep mat does go all the way from top to bottom in the tent, so there's not a lot of room for taller people in there. You do get a little bit of space each side. So in here I've got my electricals, hygiene stuff, my down jacket, and then there's a little vestibule on each side here as well. So I've got my APG stove with me for tonight, and then I've got a Summit to Eat spicy pasta arrabbiata to have later. That's just all my storage bags there. Got some water, and then tonight's drink, we've got some Mountain Dew, all dew, no sugar. Amazing. I did lose out on quite a few auctions as well because the prices just kept going up and up, but I think these were decent prices. Drop a comment below if you've ever managed to find a really good second-hand bargain. Let us know what it was and how much you paid. I did buy this sit mat thing as well off eBay. It cost me a £5. It's a multi-mat one, but it's really thin. I think one of the drawbacks of a tent like that as well is that you just can't sit up inside it. So when it is raining, I mean it's stopped now, but it's probably going to start again soon. When it is raining, all you can do is lay down in it, unless you're a dwarf. Well, I think it's going to be a fun night. I've just come in to try it out and get out of the rain for a little bit. One thing you can do in here is there's 2 layers to the door. There's a mesh and then a solid bit. So I've just rolled up the solid bit just to let a bit more air flow in and make it feel a bit roomier. It's not very long though. My feet are pretty much as far down the bottom as they could get. And then because I've got a really cool spiky hairdo, my hair's touching the top of the tent here. Ugh. If I scoot up a bit, might be all right when I've got my hat on, but I could do with a peg or holder there to pull this out. The rain is forecast to stop in half an hour or so, so I'm just going to chill out for a bit and listen to it. There's a plane going over now that you can probably hear as well, and then I'll think about making some food. If it is still raining, we'll have to put this vestibule to a bit of a test. So I've just come out and pegged out the guy lines on the tent. My thinking is that it might have pulled it out a little bit more, made the inner a bit more spacious. I don't think it has, because it's as tight as you're going to get it, that is. I mean, it's a bit looser on there, but it's pegged out as far as it'll go on each corner, and these guy lines are pretty tight as well. So I think we're just going to have to grin and bear it. Ugh. Let's just have a test. Maybe the pulling the guy lines out has helped a tiny bit, but still a bit of a coffin, isn't it? So just while I'm chilling, there's a couple of things already that I'd probably change in this tent. One is obviously the mesh at the head end here, some sort of, I don't know, clip or ribbon or something to tie that to the outer and pull it out a bit more. Another thing I'd want to do is with the doors, the tie out points aren't close enough to the ends, I don't think, so you can roll this up as tight as you like, but eventually it just comes loose and starts hanging down. I could just bring a couple of pegs along to do that. There's 2 tie out points on the inner doors, but on the outer doors there's only 1 here, so at that end it's always dropping down, so I'd have 2 on the outer door as well. And on these inner doors you've got 2, like I said, the solid one and the mesh one. I'd probably lose the solid one if there was a way to sort of unpick it and remove it, because I don't think I'd ever need that. The mesh one's fine. The outer of the tent's really close to the floor anyway, so you're not going to get loads and loads of airflow. There's a couple of vents, one on each side at the top end, which do help, but it is quite a warm tent. I think one of the other things is this tent is obviously at the budget end of the market at sort of £75 brand new, or 40-50 quid second hand. It's one of the ones that you would look at if you were probably just getting started, just getting into wild camping or thinking about going for your first camp. And it's probably not one that I would recommend for someone who's getting started, because it's too complicated and too faffy to pitch up. It's inner pitch first, it's heavy, it's really small inside. I would recommend something that you can sit up in. So yeah, I think if you did buy this for your first ever wild camp, it might put you off. But if you've camped a few times and you're looking for something for maybe stealth camping, something you might want to look at, or the OEX Fox 2 is a very similar design and it's probably a little bit more stealth than this because of the lack of bright orange bits on it. So I've just come away from the tent a little bit and I've just found a tree to sit under for a bit of shelter. Put my Decathlon Quechua waterproof coat jacket thing on, and I'm just going to boil up some water for my dinner. So I bought my APG stove. You'll have seen this on videos before. It's kind of like a cheap version of a jet boil, and I'm going to be having the Summit to Eat spicy pasta arrabbiata. See how much water we need for this. 420ml fill line C. It's starting to get cold now as well. I wish I'd left my fleece on. I need to find the oxygen absorber in here as well. That's what you're looking for. Make sure you remove that from any of these meals. They don't all have them, but it's not seasoning. So I'll give that a good stir. Just leave it for 8 minutes and then we'll see how spicy it is. Did I mention it's getting cold? I do like camping in the cold though. You know, when it's cold outside and you're nice and warm in your tent. It's really cozy, I think. I'm sat here and I've got a fleece, a down coat, a hat and gloves in the tent. I just can't be bothered to get up. So don't feel sorry for me. These kinds of stoves are really good. I don't know what you call them, like an all-in-one type thing as well. This is an APG one. You can get cheap ones from Alp Kit and from Planet X as well with their Jobsworth stoves. I paid 35 quid for this one, I think, because I wanted a smaller one. This is a 750ml. They do 1 litre ones, 1.2 litre, but this is plenty big enough for me on my own. It's just a nice little kit, nice little setup. You can cook pasta in them as well, if that floats your boat. Otherwise, I just use mine for boiling water. Should be about done now, I think. So, tradition, that's what it looks like. It's nice, that, it's tasty. Taste the tomato, it's got a bit of a kick to it. I hope it's not one of those meals that gets hotter and hotter the more you eat. Nobody wants to see me sat here eating this, so I'm going to get it finished, then I'm going to tuck into my Mountain Dew, and I'll bring you back in a bit. Well, that was nice. It wasn't too spicy. I don't feel cold anymore. Now I've got some warm food in me. I might need to have a couple of medicinal wine gums to wash that down with, but yeah, it was nice. I just want to mention as well before I forget that the stuff I've bought, obviously I got it from eBay, but there are loads of other places where you can find second-hand camping and wild camping and backpacking equipment. So check Facebook Marketplace. There's specific groups on Facebook just for buying and selling wild camping stuff. There's Gumtree, if that's still a thing. Car boot sales, jumble sales, I don't know if they're still a thing. There's loads of places you can look. Can you remember Mountain Dew? Citrus flavour. I don't think it's made from actual dew from mountains, but it's just quite nice. Not had it for ages. So the sun's just setting behind you. It'll be dark in about half an hour, I think, so just going to chill for a bit. I will catch you in the morning and let you know how I get on in my little teeny weeny coffin tent. Looks like a really sad face from this angle, doesn't it? You've got the two door pegs as eyes and then a sad mouth there. I need to lay off the Mountain Dew, don't I? Morning. So the first thing to say is this tent is definitely waterproof. The forecast for last night said there was going to be about an hour of rain between sort of 4 and 5 o'clock-ish, but I think I had an hour of no rain. It just rained non-stop, so definitely stands up to a bit of rain. Another thing I've done, which was a bit of a game changer, is I've put my rucksack at the top of the tent here, and that's helped to just lift this mesh away from my head. So I did actually sleep quite well. The sleeping bag is pretty rubbish. It was 10 degrees last night and I did start to feel a little bit cold. It is a 2-season bag and at 1.2 kilos it's just far too heavy for what it is. So I think this is going to go in the back of the car as a new blanket for the dog. The sleep mat was fine. Like I said, I've got one that's pretty much the same as this already. I do find these ones quite comfortable. It's not insulated at all, but the little bit of light AF mat did help a little bit. What else? So the Thermarest pillow was really good. I think because it was on this raised bit, it really helped to lift my head and was really comfortable. So when I'm using my X-Ped, which is a flat mat, it hasn't got a raised bit like this, I might pair this with the High Kenture pillow to raise it up. Yeah, that was really comfortable. Yes, I'm going to get a drink, get a cereal bar and start packing up. I bought all this stuff as a bit of an experiment really, to see if it's worth buying second-hand gear or not. And I think there's definitely bargains out there to be had. You just need to be prepared to invest the time into finding them. If you made it this far, hopefully that means that you've enjoyed the video. If you did, do me a favour and hit the thumbs up button and that'll help it spread to more people. And I'll see you next time.